My name is Melcia Tuse, and I am employed with the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission of Dominica as assistant engineer. And in addition to that, can you guys see my screen, by the way? Okay. I am also an ICANN fellow. I attended a fellowship in Abu Dhabi in 2017. ICANN is the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, and they are responsible for managing the DNS system or domain name system. This is designed to make the internet accessible for us human beings, as computers and devices on the network utilize IP addresses to find content on the internet, find other devices, and that's how they communicate. But since it's so difficult for human beings to remember a long series of numbers, the DNS will translate those IP addresses into text like www.google.com, for example. I am also a member of the ICT Dominica chapter, and this is an international non-profit organization which uses the internet to empower and connect people. And currently we are undertaking a project in one of the rural villages in Dominica that is still without broadband connectivity since Hurricane Maria in 2017. So we are deploying a community Wi-Fi network there. I am also a freelance graphic artist. I have a background in drawing, so I kind of translated that to the digital world with technology. Sorry. So these are some of my core functions at the Ntrc. Most of those are in regard to spectrum management. What a spectrum is, it is varying frequencies of radio signals that travel over the airwaves, and we use those to communicate with each other via satellites, mobile phones, FM radio broadcasting. So once you want to communicate over the airwaves with RF signals, you will require a license to be able to do so, because the spectrum is very limited, so we can't have any and everybody on there utilizing it. I also manage the local Internet Exchange Point, or IXP. Here it's called DANIX, and it's just a physical location that connects networks. Here in Dominica, we have our two major local internet service providers connected to each other over that infrastructure. I am also very active in digital capacity building. As you can see at the back of me, we have this initiative from NTRC called Code Camp Caraïbe, which we invite the youth especially, or anybody who is willing, to come and learn programming and robotics, building with the Arduino microcontroller, and so on. So a bit of background on how I became the assistant engineer at NTRC. It all started with a genuine curiosity, basically, in the technology that we use to communicate. I was always curious about how we make and place calls. Like how do I pick up my phone here and then I'm able to talk to somebody in a different country? And how does the internet work? I also remember seeing this documentary when I was really young about robotics, and I said I wanted to get into that, but so far I've only been able to build an AM/FM radio. So back in high school, the convent high school, I did programming using a language called Turbo Pascal. I also did physics and biology, and it was very difficult for me because there was nobody in my family or in my immediate circle who was able to assist me with my studies. So I had to put in a lot of extra work to get my CXC passes and move on to the state college. I eventually dropped programming in college. However, there was a module that we did in physics with telecommunications. And I believe it is at that point I really decided to pursue a career in telecommunications. After high school, I did a short stint at with two of the service providers as customer service representative. However, I realized soon afterwards that this role wouldn't be able to get me to be the technical professional that I aspired to be. So I decided to pursue further studies, higher education, and I did that in China. That was a challenge in itself because I am a very introverted person and I'm not very good with languages, speaking languages. So I had to use all the resources that I could find on the web to assist me with my degree. And when I moved back home, I think I saw the Dominica Grammar School. Well, I think we have a few Dominicans on here, and they would know the state of our economy. It's not the best, and finding a job was very difficult. So I did this paid internship with Lime Dominica under the National Employment Program, where I understudied the pre-sales engineer. This in itself wasn't as technical as I desired at the time, but it helped me gain an appreciation for the business side of technology and doing business. After that, I moved on to the Ntrc, where I am now. And this is by far a more in line with what I aspire to be. It is a technical role, and I am continuing to grow and learn in this role. Sorry. And in the future, I still hope to pursue my master's degree at some point. So why is it important to pursue a career in ICT? Every business uses technology to conduct business. And in addition to that, technology is the backbone of these businesses, as they have all their servers, they connect to the internet, they use technology to bring their services online and so on. So it is very difficult to get away from technology. It is a must in this day and age. So it's very important to have digital skills, transferable digital skills that you can use in your career. Also, the compensation is not too bad, given that you don't necessarily need to go to college, go to university to have a career in IT. There are a ton of boot camps, online certifications that you can pursue to get the skills that you need to pursue a career in IT. And IT is also a very stable industry in that it hasn't slowed down its growth at any point in time over the past 25 years or so. So once you get into IT, I don't think there are a lot of chances for you to lose your job. Once you continue growing and learning, building on the skills that you already have, to keep it modern, because there are new technological developments every single day, you will be in very good standing for employability. This field also gains you some global exposure. You have the opportunity to travel because these skills are required worldwide. So you're not limited to the country where you live. Your skills, you can take it anywhere you go, and you are almost guaranteed to find a job. And as I mentioned before, there are continuous learning opportunities as there are new technological developments every day. So even though you might know this programming language right now, you might know Java, later on, you might need to learn Python. So it is a very stable field. And in addition to that, with girls in ICT, we are outnumbered 5-1 in this field. I was very unfortunate to not have any female mentors guide me in my journey. However, you can be the change that you want to see in the world. You can pursue a career in IT and inspire somebody else to take up a career in that field. So what exactly is it can you do in IT? There are many different career streams. We have software development, where developers create products, software products, and databases, mobile apps, and so on. They design, they code, they test, and they create programs so that businesses are able to operate more effectively. We also have web development, where you can design, code, and test websites, and you could also design the back end and the front end of these websites to make it more usable and user-friendly. Sorry. We also have cybersecurity. This is a very huge field right now, and having these skills is very important, because with more and more people coming online, they are not all, they do not all have good intentions. There are people with bad intentions as well, and they're trying to get your passwords, your banking information, and so on. So you can become a white hat hacker, which is the sort of hacker that a company would actually hire to infiltrate the system, or try to infiltrate the system, as a black hat hacker would, which is a more malicious hacker. And that would allow them to be proactive in taking the necessary steps to secure their network. So you would be able to design, defend, and pretty much thwart the risk of a company's network or database being infiltrated. And data science is another huge aspect of IT right now, because there's so much data that is being used by businesses, and a lot of the times they want to present that in a way that is more easily digestible or easier to understand for the average user. So data scientists, that's what they do. You could get into network management, which is more of my field, and you would be able to design and maintain the road network of the internet. So all these cables and devices, you would be responsible for maintaining that and making sure that the internet at whatever institution that you are working at is always up, always running, and that the business can function in an effective way. There's also database management, which kind of goes in line with data science somewhat. And that would be useful for businesses where they ask users to sign up for their services online. So you have to be able to design the database in a way that when the time is necessary, you can extract the information that you need from it. And UX design or user experience design is also another important part. It would kind of overlap with web development as well, as we all use apps every day. And the design of the apps that we use is very important, because the last thing that you want to do is to open an application and you're not sure how to use it effectively. We are trying to figure out where's the next button, like how do you do this? How do you do that? You want the buttons properly laid out. You want the text that will guide you properly laid out. So UX designers, they take care of that. And we may not realize it sometimes, but multimedia is also a big part of IT. We have graphic designers, graphic animators, video producers, videography and photography also form part of that. So if you have a creative background where you can draw, this is a very nice stream to get into. So how do you go about getting into IT? It is very important to first pinpoint which area that you are interested in, whether it is hacking, cybersecurity. If you are creative, like I said, you could get into multimedia or UX design. If you like programming, you could definitely get into software development. Or if you like tinkering with wires and so on, network management would be a nice field. And you also need to decide how exactly you are going to become a professional in the area that you are interested in. Do you want to go to university? Do you want to get some certification in that? Or do you want to maybe attend a couple of boot camps to get you started? There are a ton of resources online that will be able to assist you. If you have the interest right now, you don't have to wait until you get to the college or you're out of high school. You can start as young as you can read. If you can use the internet, then it's a great time to start learning or start pursuing your career in IT. Another great way is to attend webinars and workshops and other networking events. This is, you have to build your network, because what I did when I was with Lime Dominica, I didn't have any women around that could mentor me, but there were a ton of men. So I tried to ask them questions all the time and, just liaise with them and let them help guide me into the, into understanding and to getting a feel of the industry and state of things here. The ICT Dominica chapter is also a great resource that I have right now, where we can bounce ideas off each other so that we can help develop the IT industry here in Dominica. So think of what you want. The sky's the limit. You can definitely, don't be intimidated. They tend to say it's a man's world, but we have to make it our world. We have to be in control right now, and it's time to turn things around. I am definitely lonely here as a network engineer. I am probably the only female network engineer that I know of. All the other females in IT that I know have pursued software development. So it would be nice to kind of share the spotlight with somebody else. But all in all, I'd like to thank you guys for listening to me today. If you want any more information on the courses that we have available at the Ntrc for programming, web development, software development, robotics, you could visit our website at www.ntrc.dm, or you could also check out codecampcaraib.com. We are also on Facebook, so you can check us out and we post a lot of the projects that we are working on there. So feel free to check that out as well. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you so much, Felicia. That was awesome. We're gonna just open the floor for a few questions. If you have any, you could just put your digital hands up so we could ask Melisha a few questions. But until we see those hands, Melisha, you said you only created a radio. That's not an only situation. That's a massive thing because I've never created anything digital before. So that's quite an accomplishment to actually make a radio. So don't take.
Thank you.
So it was a really good presentation, and I always thought of hacking as something bad, but you put the whole cybersecurity side to it. So now that is deemed as bad, you can actually stop the negative side of it by becoming, you know, how do you put it? A
white hat hacker.
A white hat hacker. Never heard of that before. So thank you so much. And I'm really hoping that you're taking notes because we're going to have a follow-up competition, and it's based on what the presenters are speaking of. So please pay attention, take some notes. And we have a question in the chat. You could put your hand up. Don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, it's easier in the chat.
Okay, so it says, are there jobs that combine ICT and science like bio and physics?
Yes, definitely. There are jobs. I can't think of any in particular right now, but as I mentioned at the start of my presentation, businesses, whatever field you are in, it uses technology. So there is definitely an opportunity for anybody with an IT background, in addition to something else that they studied, whether it's business, whether it's art, whether it's science. You can merge these two. Everything comes together with technology. Technology has been very instrumental in developing a lot of the vaccines that we have available today. So I'm not sure how exactly, because I wasn't, you know, part of the research and development team, obviously, but you know, we use technology for everything, whether it's to create models of how this virus is going to mutate, probably in certain conditions, under certain temperatures, and in certain environments. We use technology for everything, everything.